Welcome to FarmMap4D. This video is an infrastructure mapping tutorial where you'll be learning how to add infrastructure data to your newly acquired farm map of your property. Most users of FarmMap4D will start with a blank screen without any existing data, as you can see. This tutorial will show you how to map data into the system. You will have been provided a zipped shape file of your property's cadastral lines in the email with your login details. Save that to somewhere on your hard drive. To start, open the Tool menu and click on the Additional Tools tab. Click on Upload Data and choose the file you want to upload, then Upload. You will see the file uploaded onto your screen, and if you go to your Layers panel, you will see that you can switch that layer on or off. This is a temporary layer, much like a sticky note on your screen, and will be lost as soon as you log out from your session unless you save the session as a project. This project can then be opened from the I Want To tab in the future when you next log in. The cadastral lines can be used to guide you to where your boundary fence lines should be. To begin mapping, click on the Property Infrastructure Mapping tab. A new toolbar opens on your left. With this tool, you will be able to create layers of all your common property infrastructure. The toolbar creates a drop-down list which allows you to specify what data you wish to create. You can create fence lines and use those fence lines to generate paddocks. Create water points and other types of infrastructure such as homesteads or power lines, and you can create water pipelines or transportation lines. To start with, we're going to create an external boundary surrounding a paddock. To do this, we select the boundary fence type and then zoom in on our map to accurately find the property boundary on the imagery. Start clicking on the map to draw in your fence. Click again to add a vertex for each change in fence direction or fence intersection. In this example, I'll just make a couple of new fence lines to allow for this simple demonstration. It's a good idea to do the mapping in fence segments that reflect the length of fencing that you want to know the length of, or a segment that is structurally different from the rest of the fence. For example, a section of fence that might be 3-barb instead of ringlock. When you get to the end of your fence line, zoom in to place the vertex in the correct position. Then move your cursor away a little before clicking the space key to finish the sketch. You can now see a new window on the left, which allows you to input attributes about the fence that you created. The only attributes that must be filled have an asterisk next to them. However, completing as many of these attributes as possible is useful for tools later, such as the grazing circle analysis. Also, the more you fill out now, the more attributes that can be exported out later, providing you with an inventory which can be used as an asset register. Most of the fields can be filled in by selecting an item from a drop-down menu. The Allow Access to Water field is used to determine if a fence constrains access to water or not. For example, if a fence around a water square is usually open to stock, then allowing access to water ensures that grazing circles will go through the water square into the surrounding larger paddock. Boundary fences should never allow access to water. As we start to map another fence line, it is essential that the start of the new fence line connects with the other fence, in order that our paddocks can be automatically created. To do this, move the cursor near the end of the other fence feature until a small blue cross appears. Click once on the blue cross, then move your cursor away to continue mapping the new fence. Sometimes the blue cross won't appear. If this happens, please zoom in as far as you can to make sure you can get as close to the intersection as possible. Now that we have created a boundary fence, we can create some internal fences to reflect the on-ground conditions within our paddocks. We will also fill out the attributes for the fences as we go, making sure to snap each fence to another existing fence. Now that we have finished the fence lines, we can use them to generate a layer of paddocks. We do this by changing the drop-down menu on the Property Infrastructure Mapping tab to Generate Paddocks, and then press the Generate Paddocks button. This automatically creates new paddocks based on the fence lines. Any gaps between fences will result in no paddocks being created. Once the paddocks have been created, we can then modify the attributes to give each paddock a name. We also need to make sure that the category and type of paddock is accurately recorded. Use the Save and Next button at the bottom of the attribute creation window to cycle through each of the new paddocks. If you switch off the Property Infrastructure Lines in the Layers panel, you will see the red infrastructure polygons, which are the paddocks. The last step for this example is to add some points to reflect the water access locations, such as dams or troughs. To create a water point, change the drop-down menu on the Property Infrastructure Mapping tab to Water Points, and then select the type of water point you wish to add. On screen we can see a dam. Clicking on the screen in the location of the dam creates the feature and allows us to populate this feature with attributes. As with the lines, these attributes are important and serve many purposes. The livestock drinking water field is used to determine if a water point is used as a drinking source for livestock. Selecting Yes reflects that the water point is used by livestock, for example a trough. Selecting No indicates that water has another purpose, for example a turkey's nest or a water tank for a homestead. Once again, this will be important for the distance from water analysis tool later. To complete the mapping of the property, you can then use other infrastructure, water pipelines and transportation lines to create features such as building locations, pipelines, tracks or power lines. This completes the tutorial on infrastructure mapping.